Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another Amazon Seller Journey session. Today, I've been really excited about this one. I present to you Russ. I actually don't know where he will appear when this is done recording. I'm pointing this way, but it might actually be that way. So Russ, whichever way it is, um, known as Honest FBA on TikTok. And my God, like if honesty had a face, it would be Russ's face. So a massive thank you
Thank you, Matt.
for joining me on
Appreciate that
this.
intro. Thank you very much.
And yeah, like I've been really excited about having you on this. Just from what I've seen on your TikTok, and I've been following you for a long while. You share like so much about your journey. Like you are not afraid to go into like the nitty gritty and the details, and I really love that.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do with this is, I mean, for everyone's benefit, is basically go into your journey, like how you got into selling on Amazon. And I already know some of these bits, but you guys are going to be really excited to hear about like Russ's journey and such. So yeah, I just wanted to start with some of the basics. So if you wouldn't mind, please just tell us a
Awesome.
little bit about you and then also about how you came across the Amazon opportunity.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, my name's Russ. Like Matt said, I go by HonestFBA on TikTok. And I've been in the Amazon FBA space for just over a year now, where I've been actively selling. I have a full-time job. I'm a firefighter, so I'm in the fire service, and I also run a dog walking business where I have multiple staff. Got around 130 dogs on our books, so busy coordinating that. And I also have a 2-year-old little daughter who occupies every free moment that I do get. So this Amazon stuff has been built up around me being super busy, fitting it in where I can, and with the aim of hopefully kind of breaking that cycle of me working every hour under the sun and being able to build something that I can outsource and grow into something that I can have a more of a managerial kind of overview of things,
Mhm.
coordinating stuff, but business runs without me having to be present for every aspect of it.
Yeah.
So that is kind of what I was looking for. And I tried a few different bits. I had an e-com store before linked to my dog walking business. But I was trying to build up something kind of equivalent to Etsy, but a much smaller scale, but looking at kind of bespoke handmade items for dog owners.
Yeah.
Um, I was doing that around January, February of 2020. And then March 2020 happened, and all of my suppliers shut up shop, went away, everything kind of came to a close.
Mhm.
So as I was building up that, I'd come across a thing called drop shipping, and I hadn't heard of that, but that was kind of interesting. And that kind of led me into this path that I've been on, and that's where I ended up learning about Amazon FBA.
Yeah.
So initially, it was going to be for stuff around the dogs, in a drop shipping kind of method, and build up from there. But like I said, everything came to an end with COVID. Shut up shop on the ecom and just kind of reset things, and then I just sat on it for I know a year or so, and then started kind of exploring a few different things and installed TikTok and found some people on there who kind of resonated with me,
Mhm.
filtered my way through the gurus who go in Tesco's for 3 minutes and come out of a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Um, Found some similar kind of aged people to myself. People have a similar lifestyle, doing this around full-time employment, young
Yeah.
families, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I then started really looking at it, seeing what the possibilities are, really learning about it. And then, yeah, like I said, a year ago, um, kind of went into it and started from there.
Awesome. I mean, I guess the first question that I'm sure is on like everyone's minds, like how do you juggle so much? How do you do it? Because I mean, uh,
um,
like I know
well,
that there's others out there with like less going on, but even like they'll struggle to juggle those things. So how do you do family man, firefighter, dog walker? How do you do it?
yeah. So
Um,
there's a Costa 2 minutes from my house,
yeah.
so I go there a lot. So a lot of caffeine, um, and yeah, just really building up efficiencies of my time. So I'm big into at the moment, and I've been really actively kind of developing my Google Calendar all
Yep.
about time blocking.
Yep.
So I know what my shifts are going to be with the fire service, so those days are blocked out. I know what days need sorting out with the dog walking and what stuff I've got working what days. So the
Yeah.
scheduling for that is all blocked and that gets sorted. And then as I've built up this Amazon stuff, I've noted down all the different types of tasks that you've got to be responsible for. I kind of categorize them into three different groups. So I've got my admin stuff. So, I give myself two 20-minute slots a day where I can check emails. Well, I can do that while I'm walking some dogs.
Yeah.
You can do that on your phone. That's easy enough. If anything needs a decent response or I've got to put a PDF together, I can flag that in my to-do list. But
Yeah.
allow myself certain time for the admin stuff. And then I've got my operational stuff. So my sourcing, prep, although I've outsourced that now. So I use a prep center, but you still get some stuff that needs doing, the operational kind of stuff. And then education. So that's like my three categories. So I'll always allow myself certain slots in the day. So I want an hour here, 45 minutes there, whatever.
Mhm.
And if you look at time blocking, that is kind of set in stone. 9 till 9:20, emails. 10 till 11, sourcing, all that kind of stuff. Well, that doesn't work for me. Like I said, I've got a toddler, I've got all this other stuff going on. So I've kind of hybrid kind of time blocking. So set myself certain tasks in the day that I need to achieve, and I give them a set amount of time, but those blocks can move around.
Yeah.
So if I don't get an hour of watching YouTube videos on keeper analysis during the day, well, I can do that while I'm having my tea at night. While the wife is watching something on the TV, I can sit and watch it on my phone. So I'm still present. I'm still part of the family stuff going on, but I can squeeze it in here and there. But yeah, it really does come down to kind of breaking down what tasks need to be achieved and prioritizing them and putting time aside for them. Because if you don't, you'll find yourself with 20 minutes sat in front of the computer and go, I've got so much to do, I can't do anything. So I really do try and make sure that I don't find myself stuck in that position.
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to be efficient with my time and putting in systems in place as early and as quickly as I can. Like I said, I've outsourced my prep. I did that earlier than I probably would have if I didn't have so much else going on.
Yeah.
And it meant that more of my income was going out of the business than I would have liked to have kept in. But buying that time back is way more valuable than the 6 months further down the line I would have been in terms of money that it would have generated.
Yeah.
So yeah, just being honest, honest with myself,
Yeah.
and every time I did a task, I'd make a note of it. Where does that go in my categories? Where does it go in terms of priority?
Yeah.
Does that need a designated time for it, or can that be kind of mopped up when I'm fiddling on my phone, having a cup of coffee, whatever it is? Or do I need to dedicate proper time to it and make sure that is done every week at a certain time? So yeah, it's being harsh with yourself and giving yourself a structure, because as you know, when you're working in this kind of environment and you're by yourself a lot of the time, it's very easy to procrastinate and not
Yes.
be efficient with your time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of one of the things I'm really up on with myself at the moment is setting myself a schedule, because I'm very easily distracted. I can always justify doing something else,
Yeah.
but if at the end of the day there's three things that still need ticking off, I get everyone to bed and I come in my office at 11 o'clock at night and I'll sit for an hour and a half and I'll just, get through that day's tasks. So I know then the start of the next day, I'm ready to go. So,
I like the fact that in your timetable you've got time set aside for education, and that isn't something that I hear very often.
hmm,
And what you've been doing Amazon for a year, have
yeah,
yeah. Um, so I mean, even after like a year, to still like slot in education to your timetable, like a massive hats off to that, because like there's always stuff
yeah, there's
learn.
always
It's
more
like
to learn.
stuff changes as well. So
Yeah,
like the stuff that you knew like a year ago, like some of that stuff will have changed by now. So like it is really important to stay up to date to it. Sorry, stay up to date with it. And I don't think like that's talked about enough. So I
no,
mean, I like that in your timetable you do have a slot there for education.
yeah, and I mean it's an hour of every day. It's a really important part of it. So I dedicate an hour each day to a particular bit of software that I use in my business, because I want to know every in and out of it. So, I use Profit Protector Pro. I sit for an hour and I watch you doing videos on Profit Protector Pro, and I'll play with the settings and I'll try a few things, and I'll put an ASIN aside for me just to experiment with, and I'll try a few different strategies with it and
Yes. Yeah.
trying to get these automations going. And because once I get around my head around that more and more, I'm buying myself more time again, because then all I'm doing is setting up my pricing strategy at the time I buy the product.
Yeah,
I can set my minimum price because I know how I like to set that. I can set my maximum price. I can set the initial repricing strategy for it to be set up on. Now I can add in an automation. So if I haven't made a sale after 3 days, change the pricing strategy, make it more aggressive, drop the price. Oh, I've sold 5 of these in a day. This price is too cheap. Put the price back up.
yeah,
But I can set all that and leave it. So then my time isn't spent going back to repricing.
exactly.
So that hour of education that I'm doing on one particular bit of software is buying me several hours back throughout the week, because all I have to do is 2 45 half-hour slots a week just to check my reprice working all right.
I mean,
So
I guess like this learning like is really useful in the aspect of it helps like fuel your content creation as well. Because like what
yeah,
you've learned, like it's fresh in your head, and you go, oh, get that on TikTok.
exactly.
So like I see how it all sort of like that task feeds another one and so forth. Because I
Yeah.
also noticed as well, and if anyone, and we'll also link these in the description below. And Russ will also talk about them towards the end of this interview as well. Like if you come across a TikTok channel, you're thinking, why is he always outside? You do it while you're walking the dogs, don't you?
I was going to say, you're very, very privileged to see me sat still for half an hour, and indoors. Again, this isn't
Yeah,
my normal setting, so yeah, I'm forever walking, and I chat while I walk, and that's what like kind of got the TikTok channel going,
yeah.
because I was doing all this Amazon stuff and wanted just to document it and just kind of keep myself accountable. And I don't know why, but other people started listening to me, and asking me questions, and I knew answers, and that's kind of where it all built up from. But yeah, this is my normal kind of video face, because I'm stomping my way through the countryside somewhere, being dragged around by a couple of dogs.
Yeah. And just throwing it back a little bit to the sourcing, just out of curiosity, like what is like your current like main sourcing method? Like
Yeah,
have you tried other sourcing methods? Like have you done a bit of RA? Do you do OA? Do you do wholesale? Like what
yeah.
like for you?
So I started off. I'm pretty sure you know the guy Des Hamilton.
Yes, yeah.
Was the guy that kind of that one guy that kind of really resonated with me and was the push for me to get started with this.
Yes.
And his whole setup is starting with a really small pot of money, and over 2 years building it up to something really substantial. So his challenge, £200 to £100,000. And so I followed along with a similar kind of blueprint. So I started with just £200 that I set aside, and that was the start of this business. And all I've done is just keep churning that, churning that, churning that. So when you start with such a small amount, obviously you're very limited to what the options are. So I started off with used books, so scouring through charity shops, buying books for 50p, a pound, whatever I could get, and then obviously flipping them onto Amazon and selling them for a fairly decent return. I mean, used books, it can be a bit slower, but the return you can get from it, I've bought books for 50p and I've sold them for 60, 70 quid. The ROI on a decent used book can be crazy, but it's a slower kind of process going through it all.
Yeah.
So started with the used books, did that for a few cycles, and as the books were sitting there and going through and stuff, obviously I'm learning, I'm watching, and started dabbling with a bit of the retail arbitrage side of things. So clearance sections, the normal kind of stores that you see people talking about, your Superdrugs, your Boots, your Tesco's, those kind of things. Checking clearance sections, scanning everything with the app, and then start building up a bit of inventory with that. But that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Both of those options involve me going somewhere and spending an hour, 2 hours walking around stores. I don't have that time. So the plan was always move over to online as quickly as I could.
Yeah.
Um, but when you sit yourself in front of a computer with the entire internet and go, I need to buy something, it's daunting. It's again, you get that paralysis because it's just indecision. Where do I start? What do I do?
Yeah.
So got on a few ideas of what brands I'd picked up in the RA, in the clearance sections, seeing what kind of moves, and using that as a bit of a starting point, and shifted over to online as quickly as I could. And so now I'd say 95% of my business is online arbitrage. If I'm out and about and I'm walking past a clearance section, I can't help but have a quick little scan, because you don't know what's going to be there.
Exactly.
Um, and I mean, we were up in Edinburgh the other weekend, and my wife was looking through a couple of different bookshops, and I was walking the buggy up and down trying to get the baby to sleep. She eventually dropped off, and then I'm stood outside a couple of charity shops waiting for the wife to come out. There's books in the window, and I've got the app, so I just started typing in the names of books. There was two there that was worth buying, so I'll still pick up the odd bit when I'm
Yeah.
out and about. But yes, I'd say 95% is OA now. I've got a couple of wholesale accounts, but nothing that's like a massive minimum order quantity or is doing any kind of huge numbers. But starting to look at it and stuff, and private label, unique bundles. I know everyone's talking about unique bundles, but those two things are on the horizon as well as possibilities moving forward.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it all comes down to the available time I have, and a lot of my sourcing is done after 11 o'clock at night when everyone else is in bed. So online was the obvious choice. So that's kind of where I've really focused in and used what I can to build that up.
Mhm. I mean, having those retail arbitrage skills like there, even if you move on to something else, like I've always said that it's a really useful, thing to have like about you as a seller, because it just means that you got that eye to like clock stuff and go, oh, the clearance section, like it doesn't have to be something that takes like hours. Like if you devoted yourself to retail arbitrage, just like a
Yep.
quick scan here and there, see what's what. And I mean, as you say, you never know what you're gonna find. Like as you say, you typed in
No.
names two books and
And
boom.
yeah,
Um,
it's that little treasure hunt kind of feeling, but like you said, you get an eye for it and you realize kind of like, I know that brand, I know that kind of product, I know roughly kind of what the price range of that is probably likely going to be.
yeah.
And if it's at the low end of that, and I know Amazon sells it at the higher end of that range, well, there's an opportunity there, and then it's worth exploring.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can't switch it off once you've got that eye in.
Yeah.
You are constantly like, oh, that's 30% off. Who's X? And then you go off, and
Yeah, yeah.
then
And obviously, as you say, you got started with used books. And as you say, it was like it's quite slow to start with in terms of like selling and stuff. Did you find it, as you say, you were scouring around like charity shops and stuff? Did you find it hard to find, books that would work out? Like, did you find yourself going like through loads and loads and loads of different charity shops, or was it like fairly like simple-ish?
yeah, the first couple of trips out, it's again, it's that just overwhelmed kind of feeling, and
Yeah,
but it didn't take long to kind of start recognizing patterns. And you speak to people, and there's plenty of people out there giving advice and stuff. Once you filter through the nonsense that you got to get through to get to some actual hard, decent advice,
yeah,
but you start realizing like, well, what shops are good, and it's not necessarily like, or not specifically that they stock good books, but are the staff nice? Do they mind you being in there? Is it easy to kind of navigate and scan stuff? Because there's some where they've got millions of books, but they're so tightly packed in and they're behind stuff, and it's just not worth the effort of having to dig through everything. So yeah, you kind of get an idea of what shops are good, which ones churn over good stock. I've found going to charity shops in more affluent areas a lot better because people buy stuff, it doesn't get used and abused, and then it gets dropped in the charity shop. And you get like, being crass, you get a lot of older people, they come into the end of life, people just go in, clear it all out, give that to the charity shop. Um, so I found, the area in which the charity shops are located, I found more affluent areas was a better source. And then also the kind of genre of book. So definitely non-fiction. They were always better. And just weird little niches. So kind of religious stuff.
yeah,
Um, a lot of maternity and nursing. They were really good. Um, Kind of evergreen stuff as well. People will always want to reference back to it. And I had good success with a series of books that was about coding of some sort on computers, but it was kind of old school. So it
mm,
wasn't all the new stuff that the kids are coming up with now. It was for more like older computers, like Windows 95, kind of pre stuff like that. But there's obviously a need for it, and these books are getting rarer and rarer. So that kind of stuff. But yeah, more affluent areas and non-fiction definitely were things that you found more success with.
mhm, yeah. And I mean, Um, I mean, thanks for the advice. Like, first off, like anyone that's looking to get into it, I mean, you like books is a good entry point. If you're struggling to like figure out what it is exactly you're going to sell, like books is a good and like very accessible entry point. If you want, if you were to go back, like if you were to say to yourself, like if you now went back to Russ last year, if you could tell yourself like anything when you were getting started, like what would you tell yourself? Would it be, oh, don't worry, how are you going about it? It's all good, or is there anything sort of like you would do differently?
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, I've talked about it quite a bit already, but the time management stuff and the
Yeah,
putting that plan together, that's for me is absolutely crucial. So, and I would have loved to have got my head around that and used it more effectively from earlier on,
yeah,
because when you're starting off, it's all exciting and new, and everything's just you kind of dancing around. And
yeah,
looking back, there was a lot of wasted time, but at the time, it's not wasted time, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
I could have been more efficient, and I could have focused myself more on specific things and dedicated time to those. However, I don't think the time spent exploring different avenues and getting a few things wrong is wasted time at all. It kind of like, okay, well, I tried that and that really didn't work, so I know that now. Where just yeah, be open to exploring the opportunities, but yeah, maybe I could have introduced having a set calendar a little earlier,
yeah,
um, and setting goals as well. Like you start this off, and then you start, like you say about books being a good starting point. My first sale was a book from the charity shop. It sold on the day it landed in the Amazon fulfillment center, and it was a book about ancient Egypt. I bought it for 50p. I sold it for £5, and that little bar popped up on my seller central, and I was like, "This works." I did all of that. There's nothing like scammy has happened. There's turns out I didn't make any money on it because I'd worked out the prices wrong, but that's my fault. But the actual system and the process works. So you get that kind of instant feedback, that buzz, right? Cool, this works. Let's go for it. Let's do it. And then I'm going to pay off my mortgage and I'm going to have a holiday all the time and I'm going to work on my laptop anywhere in the world. And they're realistic goals. They absolutely 100% are, but kind of rein it back a little bit and go, cool, I want to pay off my mortgage. I've got £200,000. So break that down over the next 6 years. Break that down, like backload it a little bit because obviously you've got to snowball the money. And okay, so within a year, where do I want to get? Within 2 years, where do I want to get? Within 5 years, where do I want to get? And then kind of reverse engineer those big lofty dreams into actual time driven, realistic goals and stick to them and make things happen so that you achieve those goals.
what are some of your goals that you have right now?
So like for me, I mean, work a bit less. That'd be lovely. Yeah, maybe just two jobs. I don't know. So no, I'd love to be able to work on my own schedule and prioritize building my day around spending it with my daughter,
Yeah.
and with my wife. We're massive Disney fans, so we want to spend a lot of time in Orlando. Um, and so the opportunity and the potential for me having an American-based business would be built around us having some sort of base in Orlando. We've always wanted to look at not basing ourselves from there, but having a base there.
Mhm.
Um, so getting that kind of set up, to kind of combine our passion and our love for Disney with the possibility of expanding my business into a massive market,
Mhm.
which is hugely profitable, hugely available to you. And then it's about setting my daughter up for life,
Yeah.
giving her the absolute best. Um, yeah, so it's about just building that dream kind of family hand in hand with the business kind of
Yeah.
complete lifestyle is the dream for me. So
Does your wife do anything with you in the Amazon business?
not at the moment. I mean, she does. She's helped out with when I had the prep and our living room was full of boxes and stuff, and she was getting the labels, and she keeps me fed with coffee and cake and all the good stuff. But our daughter starts nursery in September, so she then will have a few hours free during the week. She comes from a HR kind of background and a payroll background, so she understands numbers, tax, payments, all that kind of stuff, and is really, really good at record keeping,
Yeah.
which is a weakness of mine. So that's going to be kind of handed off to her. She's expressed a bit of interest in like learning the FBA side of stuff as well, about the sourcing, and she's very creative as well. So like building bundles and that kind of stuff probably would suit her as well. So the possibility to introduce her to that side of things as well is there. But yeah, we'll just see what happens when we get to September. But yeah, if she can, fantastic. If it doesn't work out, not a bother. This was always going to be built up to be outsourced as much as possible anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to build a full-time job for the both of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, and sort of throwing it back a little bit again, just picking up on when you said about when you make mistakes and stuff, how that's not totally wasted because you learn from it. And obviously, anyone that follows your journey knows that like you like clue I mean clues in the name, like you're
yeah,
honest about it, like you'll share these things in the hopes to help like others out. Do you have any examples of sort of like any recent sort of like mistakes or anything that's like gone wrong or anything like that where you've it's happened and instead of I mean, this is a massive thing that I'll tell anyone. Like, don't let it shut you down and
yeah,
don't let it make you feel like you suck at Amazon. It's not for you. Like, it's just something that happens. It's the way the cookie crumbles with literally anything you do in life. Stuff will go wrong, but you got to like work around it. Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, I was just wondering if you had sort of like any
yeah,
example like recent things that have been going on and how you've like overcome it.
yeah. So like you said, like that was kind of the whole ethos behind the honest FBA, because
Yeah,
there's so many people out there who just sell this fake idea of what this is, and it is those people you see walk in, scan. I made £400 profit in 3 minutes, and you didn't. Like I've seen them scanning stuff, and I know that's transparency label enabled. I've got stock sitting here of the same stuff because I can't sell it because the transparency label come on, and it's just nonsense. And it was that kind of information that kept me out of starting this.
yeah,
So when I decided to put myself out on TikTok, it was always to be completely upfront and talk about the difficulties and the headaches you're going to get from this, and the stuff you have to kind of the hoops you got to jump through when dealing with Amazon, and trying to get information out of them, and actually talk to a person, not just a bot replying to your messages and all that kind of stuff. So no, I'm really grateful that you've kind of picked up on the level of honesty I'm giving, because that's really important to me,
yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to give from my channel. So for an example, at the minute, something that I'm dealing with, and it was a mistake, but it was a mistake on Amazon's part, but I'm now paying the price of having to try to resolve this issue. I had 2 boxes of products that were dangerous goods, so I had to ship them into Amazon using the non-UPS partnered shipping.
yeah,
The first time I sent them in with Every, and I've always only ever done raw mail, and for whatever reason I hit Every, and it flashed up delivery refused, being returned to sender. So I was like, "Ugh, it's obviously because I've hit Every, it's the wrong one, they don't know what they're doing. Stupid, that's my mistake, whatever." Came back to me, sent them straight back in with raw mail, the usual way I do it. A couple of days later, delivery refused, return to sender. There's something going on here. So then I got in touch with Amazon, try to figure out what's going on, because I'm doing exactly what I've been told to do. I've sent in plenty of dangerous goods products before. This should be working. Why is it getting to the gate and this being refused? Back and forth with Amazon. Turns out, for whatever reason, when the label was created in the create a shipment section of the Seller Central, uh, I was given the wrong postcode for the Daventry Fulfillment Center.
hmm
So I had the right address and the wrong postcode. So they sent me then the correct postcode, said, if you send it in now, that'll be it sorted.
yeah,
Well, I'm 60 quid down in shipping because you've told me the wrong postcode, and you've
yeah,
admitted you've told me the wrong postcode. So now I'm trying to get that £60 back out of Amazon,
yeah,
and I might as well bang my head against the wall, because you can't get a refund because you didn't use UPS partnered shipping. Well, I couldn't use UPS partnered shipping. It was dangerous goods. Ah, okay. Well, you should have you should have sent it to this postcode. Well, you didn't tell me that postcode. You told me this postcode, and you told me the wrong one.
Yeah.
Well, if you use UPS partner shipping, but
Yeah.
that
Go
is,
around in circles.
yeah, that's part of dealing with Amazon, and you just got to be patient with it.
Yeah.
Don't let the emotion of getting so frustrated come out in the message you're sending them. Just be clear, concise. Um, if I ever have to send them information, I make sure it's all merged into one PDF with a covering letter saying, this is the issue that we're talking about. Here's the reference number. This is about a couple of shipments. So here's the shipment IDs for the product for the problems that we're dealing with. Here's what has been said already. This is the point I'm trying to make. Please find attached, and then there's the a copy of the shipping label that Amazon told me to create, copy of the shipping record from a copy of the shipping record from raw mail,
Yeah.
and then my last contact with Amazon, and trying to explain like the point you're missing is this, and just trying to talk to a robot like a robot, because a lot of the time you're not getting a real person reading through your messages and stuff. And just understanding that that's part of it with Amazon, and it will get resolved because I'm not going to drop it. You just got to keep churning over and be patient with it. But it can be frustrating, and you do see a lot of people throw their hands up in the air and go, "This is a waste of time." But everyone who's selling on Amazon deals with these issues.
Yeah.
So be patient with it, be concise, be accurate with the information. Goes back to having good records kept. I know exactly where I need to go to get the records of these shipments, exactly what IDs I need to provide and stuff. Keep everything filed away. My sourcing spreadsheet has got links to my Google Drive. Here's the invoice, here's the shipment, and all that kind of stuff. But just it's really hard, but don't get frustrated. it's just part of dealing with the Amazon machine.
Do you think you'll find a resolution to what's going on? Or
I mean, I don't know. What's most annoying about it is that 60 quid to me is a chunk of change.
yes, yeah,
Amazon wouldn't even notice it. So all I need is someone to just go, oh yeah, no, our fault. There you go. There's £60 on your next reimbursement,
yeah,
and problems all solved. But I've been patient with them now. The last information exchange I had with them, they said they received it. We'll get back to you in 3 days. 3 days later, I had another message saying, we're still looking at it. Please be patient with us. That was 3 days ago, and I've still not had anything.
mhm,
So I think that particular kind of case has now been lost in the cycle. So I'll open up a new case. And it's dead straightforward because I'll just be copying and pasting the last message from the previous case and attaching the PDF again. So I'm going to just keep going until it gets through to somebody that can actually deal with the problem.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like as you say that 60 quid, like it's quite like it's something to you, of course,
Yeah.
because it's your own business, so like everything matters. Um, and like how you say as well, like how you've, compiled the PDF together with absolutely everything, like all of the reference numbers, shipping things, everything, like proof of this, that, and the other. Like it is like, and again, this is something that I tell everyone, like keep everything. You got to be a bit of a hoarder when you
Yeah.
get into this. When you get into this world of Amazon, like you got to keep everything because you never know when you're gonna need it.
No, and it could be providing for Amazon, it could be providing it for a brand, it could be dealing with a customer. There's so many ways in which information can be requested from you. And there's nothing looks more unprofessional than going, I lost the receipt,
Yeah.
So it's really important, that record keeping.
Mhm. Definitely. And so what I want to do with this next bit of the interview is sort of like turn it into what I like to call the entertainment factor. So I just basically want to ask you whatever it is that comes to my head, and I hope you don't mind.
That's all right.
But I mean, you've got quite a bit of like, you're a lovable guy. Like you got a lot about you. I mean, firefighter, family man, dog walker, Amazon seller. You're into Disney. Like you got a lot to you, and I like that. And so one of the first things I wanted to ask was obviously you say you're super into Disney, and this will probably be like the impossible question, but do you have a favorite like Disney movie?
Well, of the modern ones, Tangled. I
Really?
really love Tangled
Yeah.
and loved it before our daughter came along, and our daughter came along and looks exactly like Rapunzel.
Right.
Like when we watch it and we look at her, it's uncanny. But yeah, Toy Story. Toy Story is the one for me. I mean, I'm wearing Pizza Planet t-shirt right now. I've got Toy Story tattoos all over me. So yeah, uh, and it's not truly Disney, it's Pixar, but I
Yeah.
give it a pass. Um,
It's on Disney Plus, so it's
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I remember like, I mean, I grew up with Toy Story. Like, I think the first one came out like a year or something like that, a couple of years maybe before I was born, and then like after that, like I grew up with the remainder of them. So yeah, it does hold like a special place in my heart. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you rank this high, but one of the most underrated Disney movies is actually one of my favorites is Hercules.
I love
I don't
Hercules.
think that one
Oh, I love
gets
Hercules.
enough love.
Yeah, the how far I go, not how far I go, sorry. I Go the Distance is one of my favorite all-time songs.
Mm.
And yeah, when that comes on, that's me crying instantly. That and the soundtrack to Tarzan, I
Yeah.
can't listen to them without crying, especially now as a dad. So no, Hercules, yeah, it is underrated and it shouldn't be because it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the that's like the bittersweet thing about Disney. Like they provide you with like all these like joyful things, and then like the moments that hit hard, they really hit hard.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been kind of emotional anyway, but honestly, since the daughter's come along, I can't do anything without crying. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Does she cry with you at these like
Uh,
sad moments, or is it
yeah,
where like
normally,
you think that she would cry, but actually you're the one that's crying?
yeah, no, she's too busy kind of trying to jump off something, or, or like, yeah, she is a sensitive little one, but yeah, she's like me. She's easily distracted and excitable. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of there trying to hold myself together. And she's like, "Oh, look, there's some stairs I can fall up."
I mean, I bet she loves like the whole sort of like dog side of you, like how many dogs like you handle. As you say, you got 130 dogs
Yeah.
in your books. I mean, that's a lot of. I mean, does she get to meet them?
Yeah, no, she's really intuitive with the animals. Like she's really good at kind of keeping a distance, and she'll run up to it and stop and just wait and kind of like if the dog comes to her, she'll give him a tickle and stuff. But um, because we don't have our own dog,
Yeah,
we did up until I think my wife was 7 months pregnant when we lost him. So she never met or she's never lived with a dog, but yeah, she meets dogs all the time. I'm constantly popping back and forth to the house, and I'll bring her out, and she can meet all the different dogs. And
yeah.
we've got some real big dogs on our books. We've got Bernese Mountain Dog and Italian Spinonis, and a few really tall dogs. And she's not bothered by the size of them at all, But like I said, she's really intuitive with it. So yeah, she's definitely a an animal baby like myself.
Do you have like a favorite breed of sorts?
Oh
Or
well, I mean, our dog was a beagle, and I'll forever love a beagle. I don't know if we could ever have another one because he was so good. He was so special to us.
yeah,
I mean, I've talked about it a little bit on my channel, um, but our daughter was an IVF baby. And we had was it just over 6 years of struggles of trying to get pregnant, getting pregnant, losing the pregnancy. If I, we went through a really rough time of it, and our boy was he kept us together. He looked after us. He was our kind of like anchor through it all.
mhm,
And then the day the wife came back from the clinic and the egg had taken, he got on her lap and didn't leave her until he died. So yeah, I don't think I could ever have another beagle, but I love beagles so much. Yeah.
yeah. It is when you have a dog for yourself, like they are unique and they are like just as irreplaceable as like
Yeah, he's our child,
a daughter or anyone else. So yeah, no, I completely sympathize with you there, and I'm sorry to hear that you lost them.
Yeah, no, I mean he lived a good life. He was 12 and he had a few illnesses and problems, and he did well to get to that age. but I always used to joke about it, and I wonder, did he know how good of a life he had? Because he went bloody everywhere with me. You
Yeah.
know, I built up the dog walking business with him by my side. His seat was in the front next to me at the van, and he did every walk. I did a lot of adventures and hikes and disappearing into the wilderness, and we used to camp out together, me and him, just under the stars. And yeah, he was a spoiled little guy, you know. So I always wondered, you know, did he know how good of a life he had? Because but then I also think about what a house has been like since the baby came along, and I think he chose damn well a time to just be, I'm done, I'm out, because I don't want to deal with this. Because he was very, very much set in his ways, and he liked his comfort. And yeah, I don't think the first 6 months of a baby being in the house would have been his favorite time.
Do you find it easy dealing with like so many of the dogs? Like, is it all like relatively like chill? You just go for your walk, or do you find that some of them are a bit more, I don't know, like hyperactive or maybe problematic than others?
Yeah, so I mean, the majority of them, especially the ones that have been with us a while now, they know the score. They know the kind of time that we come. They see the van pulling up. They know what the deal is. They know where we go for walks and stuff. So they just kind of go along with the flow. Um, but it's taken a lot of time for me to get to that position. So like I said, I've got multiple staff. I've got 5 staff that work for me now.
Yeah.
But for the first 3 or 4 years, it was just me. And so a lot of that ease that the job has now is from the groundwork I've put in.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, they're dogs, so they're always unpredictable. They can always throw a spanner in the works, and just kind of like completely change your plan for the day. And what you think is going to be a nice, easy finish to your Friday afternoon turns into an absolute nightmare. And you're knee deep in a bog trying to get a couple of dogs out that have chased a rabbit somewhere, and you're 7 o'clock at night and you're still not dropped everyone home. Um, and then you'll have other ones that you know that they're going to take a little bit more work. The walk to them are difficult. They can't go near other dogs. They're reactive. They can't go near other people, and they're just a joy. And they'll just trot along, and there's no stress. So yeah, there's always an unpredictability to it. Um, but it's a fantastic way to earn some money. I'm outside all the time. I love dogs. I've always had dogs. Um, I don't have to speak to many people. I'm just by myself. So no, it's got unpredictability to it. There are dogs that require a bit more work, a bit more effort. Um, but it's something again that you can get a reward from, because you can see them progressing. You get feedback from the owners who are now able to go to the pub with their dog because it's so much more chilled out. It's getting the proper exercise. It's been socialized correctly. Um, so yeah, again, you get that feedback, that reward from it. And yeah, it's really really chuffed when you see those dogs come on, because you do put a lot of time and effort into them. You do have a part of you that goes into that dog.
Yeah.
um so yeah, no, yeah, I've got 130 little mates that I kind of help out. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, as I say, like it's really cool that you've got like all of these things like about you. Like as much as like you might think, oh no, like I'm juggling X, Y, and Z. Like just like how much you do, like massive respect to that. Like yeah,
thank you.
uh, yeah, and so I think that probably brings us to a conclusion of this interview session. So, obviously, I can't emphasize enough how great Russ's channel is on TikTok. Like, if you want to know Amazon straight up, like Honest FBA, that's where you need to be.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
So yeah, I mean, TikTok's the main one. Honest FBA on TikTok. Like you said, I try and give an honest view of it, and give my feedback. I talk about the good stuff as well. It's not all the difficulties and the troubles, but I talk about the good stuff and talk about strategies and plans and ideas that I've got and stuff. But yeah, I'm on TikTok, and if you get on there and you ask me questions, I'll happily answer. Yeah, I end every video by saying I'll happily answer any questions, um, because I want that feedback. I want that engagement. I want to help people,
Yeah.
and I want them to have a realistic understanding of the possibilities of it, and also what they're going to have to deal with to achieve those goals.
Mhm.
So yeah, TikTok's the main one. I'm toying with the idea of moving over to the YouTube and doing some longer form videos, because I can chat no problem.
Mhm.
But time, that's the
Yeah.
issue on there. Um, and you'll see me loitering around on a few different Facebook groups as well. So yeah, if anyone comes across me on any of them, just say hi and I'll say hi back.
Awesome. And I will link Russ's socials in the description below, so you can go ahead and give him a follow, and please do. So yeah, a massive thank you to you, Russ, for having joined me. It's been great having you, and I mean, just thanks for everything like you've said. Like it's been very real. Yeah, thank you so
No,
much.
thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. And to everyone that's watching as well, this will also be available as a podcast over on the Online Arbitrage podcast, along with our other interviews. This is going in the playlist with the rest of the other Amazon seller journeys. So if you want to have a binge, then please do so. You can watch them all in that playlist. So yeah, thank you once again. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all soon. See you later.